Yo, what's good? What's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Russ with The Rock Never Stops. Yo, Vasily Lomachenko versus Devin Haney was a fight for the ages. And I think a lot of people are disappointed because a lot of people underestimated just how good both of these fighters are. I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you enjoy the video, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Yo, I think a lot of people have been looking at Vasily Lomachenko, and I think they were looking at him like he was washed. I think they were looking at him like he was, he had lost a step, that he didn't have the same amount of power. He was never really much of a power puncher in the first place, but they looked at him like he couldn't do what he had always shown the ability to do. And even though in some of his previous fights, we kind of saw signs, maybe aging and slowing down, I think what a lot of people underestimated was the heart of a champion. And I know it's one of those terms that we throw out all the time. I think that we, constantly kind of, hey, this guy's had a belt, he's a champion, he knows what it's like. But in this fight, we saw exactly what that meant. In rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, the heart of a champion came out. The heart of a champion who refused, as they would say, to go quietly into the night, to go down without a fight. He was getting his ass whooped. He was getting his ass whooped. And I think that because people expected Haney to whoop his ass, they discounted just how much he was whooping Vasily Lomachenko's ass in those early rounds. He wasn't just beating him, he was dominating him. He was basically making him look exactly how we all thought. But because we underestimated Lomachenko, because we underestimated his resiliency, his ability to pull himself together, to figure some things out, and to turn the tides of a fight, when he did, we were shocked. And we looked at Devin Haney as if he had done something wrong, as if he was somehow now less of a fighter because he showed a chink in his armor. And the reality is, it was probably a chink that only another great fighter could pull out. But then when you look at Devin Haney, we have to admit what we saw, that there was a chink in the armor. And if anything, it wasn't his talent. No one's ever disputed that. No one's ever looked at his talent and said he's not talented enough. No one ever has looked at his skills and said he's not skilled enough. They might have talked about his punching power a little bit, but you see that the boy could punch, the boy can land, the boy could hurt somebody. Because I think Lomachenko was hurt. He got hit to the body one too many times in those early rounds, and after a while was, practically saying, no mas, no more to the body. But there was something that I was talking to my partner about, and we were pointing out that there's something about mental resiliency, mental fatigue. And mental fatigue was, I think, what we're seeing that Devin Haney got exposed with. His game plan was working. But when the fight broke out, not that he wasn't in a boxing match, but when the fight broke out, when Lomachenko said, let's go, I'm not going out like this, Devin Haney didn't double down on his strategy. He didn't show that resiliency and that toughness to demand that he imposes his will on this fighter. It don't matter if you're great, don't matter if you're the greatest of all time. There's a certain level of dog that you gotta have that refuses to allow somebody else to impose themselves, whether it's to your detriment or not. And that was what we saw exposed in Devin Haney, is that all of a sudden he decided to go back to the drawing board because Lomachenko turned it up. I don't think he needed to go back to the drawing board. I think he was winning with exactly what he was doing, but he had to double down on it. He had to dig in and say, I'm going to keep going to your body. I'm going to keep letting you come in. I'm going to take a couple. But when you back out, you're going to take this right hand over the top. And he forgot that he is a great fighter. But I also want to point out that he showed his own resiliency. And this is something that I think people really struggle to rectify with Devin Haney is that he may not have that Terrence Crawford level of dog, right? He may not have that Andre Ward level of dog in him. But it doesn't mean he doesn't have the dog in him. Because we saw in that 12th round, when it hung in the balance, it came out. When it hung in the balance, and it was all or nothing, Devin Haney showed up. And this is the part that I think a lot of people discount about why Lomachenko has nobody to blame but himself. Because we've seen this before. We saw it with Teofimo Lopez. Slow start, lose a lot of early rounds, you turn it on, you begin to turn the tides, and when the 12th round comes, you're gassed. You don't have it for the 12th round when it matters the most. And we've seen this before. Had Lomachenko kept his foot on the gas, had he took all that energy from those tears, from the blood, from the sweat, from everything he put into this fight, and I believe he put his all into this fight, had he doubled down and said, one more round, I've got to win one more round, because we all know you just can't ask for the belts. You can't ask to become undisputed. You have to demand it. You have to force the hand of the judges to give it to you. And he just didn't do enough. Now, did Lomachenko have some great rounds? Yes, he did. He had the best rounds of the fight. Like Max Kellerman said, he said he stole the story of the fight. If this was a backyard fight, if this was an after school, at the park fight, we would all remember Vasily Lomachenko and say he won the fight. Did you see what he did to Devin Haney? But this is not an after school fight. This is a professional boxing match where rounds count. Rounds count. And he did not do enough to make up for the rounds that he lost early in that fight. As much as we want to say, hey, Devin Haney should have done more. We want to say, hey, you know what? Lomachenko had dominance and he imposed his will. He did. But this is a professional boxing match. This is where each round counts. And even though I had the first round going to either or, after round 7, I had it 5-2 Devin Haney. Loma got 8, Haney got 9. Loma resoundingly won 10 and 11, and then he lost 12. And that was the difference in this fight. When it came down to it, Devin Haney outlasted Loma. Devin Haney got those early rounds like you know you have to do against Loma. You know Loma's going to turn it on at a certain point, and it's going to be hard to overcome. And Devin Haney survived. Devin Haney's also going to have to live with that he allowed Loma to steal the story of the fight. Despite the win, he allowed someone to steal the story of the fight. And he's going to have to go back to the drawing board. He needs to begin to focus on those latter rounds, because you can't be like a Caleb Plant where you can look great, you can look crisp in early rounds, you can look like you're a champion, and then in the latter rounds you fade. You can't fade. Now, we all know Caleb Plant's more of a fatigue, physical fatigue. But Devin Haney showed some mental fatigue. He showed that he can get tired mentally. He can lose the amount of focus and ability to execute the game plan. He can begin to get off center a little bit, forget some of the things that was necessary in order to keep another great fighter off of him. And once again, make no mistake, Lomachenko is a great fighter. Now, Shakur Stevenson jumped into the ring and he said, yo, let's get it. Loma won, let's get it. Loma did not win, but I know why you're saying it. Because you want the fight. But here's the thing. If you want to be undisputed, you have to take the path of undisputed. You can't avoid all the big fights that Devin Haney has taken to get all the belts. You've got to go and chase this boy down. That's the road to being undisputed. Go ahead and beat Lomachenko. Go ahead and beat The cat that beat Teofimo Lopez, who Devin Haney took the belts from in Australia. Take that path. Make it so that there's no place else for him to go. Quit fighting these B-list fighters. Go to the top. Everyone knows you're talented enough. You think you're ready for Devin Haney? You have to prove it. We can't just be sitting here guessing. We know you're talented. But there is a path. You can't skip the line. I don't even think there's really too many other fighters in front of you, but you still have to take the path. And it may not make sense to say that, right? But it's to say you can't not take the test that Haney had to take to get there for the belts and just go straight for the final exam. You got to take the tests along the way. I'm going to need at least 1 or 2 champion fighter fights. Recent champions. I'm going to need at least 1 or 2. And you got to dominate if you're only going to do 1. You've got to blow the brakes off them. Stop them. Knock them out. Shoot, take care of Tank. Right? That's how you get to the undisputed path. That's how you get that fight. And I hope he does it. Yo, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. What do y'all think about Devin Haney? What does he need to work on? What do you think about Lomachenko? What do you think about the path for Shakur Stevenson to get that fight against Devin Haney to potentially become undisputed? Holla at me in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.